Round 2 of the 2026 FIA World Endurance Championship, the 6 Hours of Spa-Francorchamps, may go down as the most chaotic and compelling race the hypercar era has produced so far. Multiple crashes, safety cars, post-race investigations, and a winner that almost nobody predicted. And the team that came out on top through all of it. BMW. Not only did the German manufacturer score its very first WEC victory in the hypercar class, it locked out the entire top 2, a historic 1-2 that left the paddock stunned and the fanbase buzzing. For American motorsport fans who follow IMSA and keep an eye on WEC, this result matters. BMW is a manufacturer deeply invested in North American racing, and a performance like this signals something bigger is building. So how exactly did they pull it off? Let's break it all down, from the strategy call that changed everything, to the aggressive driving that made it stick, to the penalty cloud that almost took it all away. Chapter 1. The starting point. Nobody expected this. To understand just how remarkable BMW's result was, you have to go back to qualifying. The pre-race conversation wasn't about BMW at all. The spotlight was on the pole-sitting Peugeot, the Cadillac entry, and both Alpine cars, all of which had looked consistently rapid throughout the practice sessions at Spa. BMW, by contrast, was an afterthought. The number 20 car qualified 11th. The number 15 qualified 10th. If you had walked into the Spa paddock on Friday evening and told someone BMW would be celebrating a 1-2 by Sunday afternoon, you would have been laughed out of the garage. What changed everything was a single pit stop decision that nobody saw coming, and it came earlier than anyone expected. Chapter 2. The pit stop that rewrote the race. Through the opening stint, the number 20 BMW held steady in 11th before nudging up to 10th, running comfortably behind its sister number 15 car, which had already climbed to 5th thanks to a strong launch from Kevin Magnussen. Nothing about the early running suggested what was about to happen. Then came lap 26, and the first round of pit stops, and this is where BMW's race was won or lost. 6 cars pitted on that same lap. The number 12 Cadillac, the number 50 Ferrari, and others were all stationary for somewhere between 64 and 67 seconds. Standard stuff. But BMW's crew got the number 20 car back out in just 50.2 seconds. Nearly 15 seconds faster than the competition. The reason? BMW deliberately short-fueled the car. They didn't fill it to the top. The car came out lighter, which meant it was faster on track, and it came out ahead of most of the field, which meant it had clean air to run in, free from the traffic that was going to bog down everyone else. It was a calculated gamble. A lighter fuel load meant the number 20 would have to stop more frequently. It was now on a completely different strategic rhythm to the rest of the field. But getting track position and clean air at a circuit like Spa, where following another car through Eau Rouge and Rye Dillon is genuinely difficult, is worth an enormous amount. BMW's pit wall understood that, and they committed to it fully. In the second stint, the number 20 BMW was flying. It pulled away from the number 8 Toyota, the only other car running a similar offset strategy, and began building a gap over the leading pack behind. Of course, every time it came in to refuel, it dropped back through the field temporarily. But lap by lap, stint by stint, the car was working its way back toward the front. By the 4th stop, it was returning into the midfield and sitting right in contention for the win. The strategy controversy and what it reveals about WEC in 2026. Here's where the story gets even more layered, and it's something the comments section picked up on immediately after the race. One sharp-eyed viewer pointed out that it was actually Brendan Hartley's early pit stop during the first hour that initially triggered the offset strategy calls from rival teams. And then, perhaps most intriguingly, the safety car appeared at almost the exact moment that Sebastian Buemi was leaving the pits in the number 8 Toyota. The timing raised eyebrows. As the commenter bluntly put it, that smelled fishy. Now, we're not in the business of making accusations. Coincidences happen in endurance racing constantly, and safety cars are an inevitability over 6 hours at Spa. But what the observation really underlines is how much strategy in WEC has become a chess match at the highest level. It's not enough to have the fastest car. You need to anticipate the safety car before it comes out. You need to react before your rivals even realize what's happening. And critically, you need a pit crew that can execute under pressure faster than everyone else. BMW had all 3 of those things working in their favor on Saturday. There's also been significant discussion about BMW's straight-line speed at Spa. Multiple fans noted that the M-Hybrid V8 LMDH appeared to have a genuine top speed advantage on the Kemmel Straight. Whether that's a function of the current balance of performance allocation, the specific aerodynamic setup BMW brought to Belgium, or something deeper in the car's architecture is a question that doesn't have a clean answer right now. But it's a question that every rival team is asking, because if that straight-line pace shows up again at Le Mans in June, on the Mulsanne Straight and the long blasts down the Hunaudières, BMW becomes a genuine favorite for the biggest prize in endurance racing. Not just a contender, a favorite. And that's genuinely exciting for the sport. There's a growing sense in the WEC community, you can feel it in the comment sections and fan forums, that something special is happening in 2026. Fans who were deeply invested during the golden era of Toyota versus Porsche versus Audi, and then drifted away during the years when Toyota was essentially running unopposed, are tuning back in. When any one of 6 or 7 manufacturers can realistically win a race on a given weekend, the sport is in a healthy place. Spa proved that emphatically. Chapter 3, the number 15 car, aggression, chaos, and brilliant defense. While the number 20 was executing a precise strategic masterplan, the number 15 BMW was fighting its way through a completely different kind of race. Messier, more physical, and arguably more dramatic. Kevin Magnussen started from 10th and came out swinging immediately. Into La Source on the very first lap, he went wheel-to-wheel with the number 50 Ferrari around the outside, a genuinely brave move at one of the most demanding corners in motorsport. By the time the field crested Ry Dillon, he'd already moved up to 6th. Minutes later, he was door-to-door with the number 36 Cadillac at the bus stop chicane, made contact, came out ahead, and settled into 5th. It set the tone for the entire race. But it wasn't a clean run from there. The number 15 was involved in multiple incidents with the number 51 Ferrari across the race, including contact at Blanchiment that sent the Ferrari onto the gravel, and a later clash at the same location that spun the BMW and dropped it all the way back to 12th with roughly 2.5 hours remaining. At that point, a podium looked like a long shot. What rescued the number 15 was a combination of smart timing and a crucial tire call. The team kept the car out longer than several rivals, pitting on lap 104, while the number 83 Ferrari and the number 9 Aston Martin had already come in on lap 93. That extra time on track meant when the late safety car appeared, the number 15 BMW was perfectly positioned to jump the field as everyone else was forced into the pits on lap 105. It leapfrogged multiple cars in one move. Then, on that final stop, BMW made the call not to change tires on the number 15. The car was stationary for just 63.8 seconds, while rivals spent between 70 and 80 seconds putting on fresh rubber. Magnussen came out ahead, but on older tires, and had to defend hard all the way to the flag. He did it brilliantly. It was exactly the kind of gritty, composed performance that reminds you why experienced drivers are so valuable in endurance racing. Chapter 4. The Post-Race Investigation. Even after the checkered flag, BMW couldn't celebrate cleanly. Before the race had even officially concluded, stewards confirmed that both the number 20 and number 15 BMWs were under investigation for multiple potential infringements. The number 20 faced scrutiny over whether the gap between the two BMW cars was too large at the final safety car restart, a potential procedural violation. The number 15 was being examined for its collision with the number 51 Ferrari, and separately for allegedly leaving the track and gaining a position. The team had to wait. And in endurance racing, that wait is agonizing. In the end, stewards reviewed all available data and footage and determined that none of the incidents warranted a penalty. On the Ferrari contact specifically, they concluded that both drivers were equally at fault, which is why neither car was sanctioned. BMW's 1-2 was confirmed. The celebration could finally begin. Chapter 5. The Championship and What Comes Next. With Spa in the books, the WEC hypercar manufacturer standings have shifted dramatically. BMW now leads on 59 points. Toyota sits 7 points back in second on 52. Ferrari is third with 42 points. Aston Martin and Alpine are both on 14 points, occupying 4th and 5th respectively. 6 rounds still remain, and Le Mans is next. The question everyone is now asking is whether BMW can carry this momentum to the 24 hours, the race that defines legacies in endurance motorsport. Based on the pace, the pit crew execution, and the strategic boldness on display at Spa, The honest answer is yes, they absolutely can. The 2026 WEC season is already shaping up to be one of the most competitive and unpredictable in recent memory. If the racing continues at this level, with genuine battles at the front and outcomes that nobody can predict, then the rest of this season is going to be unmissable, whether you're a hardcore endurance racing veteran or someone who's just rediscovering what makes this sport so special. Drop your prediction in the comments. Can BMW win Le Mans? And were you as stunned by this result as most of the paddock was?